The most overused magic trick in the book. With just 2 words, you can magically disappear from your own feelings and make everyone else comfortable. Hi, my name is Erin, and this is the Joy Tribe. And today we're talking about those 2 little words that can completely erase you from your own life. And that is, I'm fine. We say this when we want to keep things easy because it feels safer than actually being real. But for me, and I'm sure most of you, it becomes the most dangerous sentence in our vocabulary. Because every time that we say it, we are actually saying, I'm not going to tell you the truth. Because if I tell you the truth, then I might ruin this thing that I might actually really want really badly. And I'm not going to do that. I thought that saying fine was better and more comfortable than telling the truth. Because being fine meant that I never had to disappoint anyone. I never had to make things difficult. But to be honest, it was the easy way out. By being fine, this also meant that I was slowly erasing myself from my own existence. I was abandoning my needs and my feelings in order to benefit others, and I sacrificed my happiness in order to keep the peace in any relationship I had, regardless if it was a romantic relationship or not. I clung onto the words, I'm fine, even in the moments that I should have run for the hills, like really run the other way. So I want to tell you a little story. Years back, my ex and I were at a bar with a bunch of friends, which happened on most weekends in the city. The music was bumping in the background, people were laughing and dancing and having fun and having drinks. I, on the other hand, was standing just a few feet away from my ex with a drink in my hand, watching him tell a story to someone with pure excitement. Didn't look at me, didn't reach for my hand, didn't invite me in the conversation. And the sad part is, this was common. This wasn't a new thing for us. It was all too familiar. At social events, I might as well been Casper the Ghost, because he would work the room like I wasn't even there, and I'd smile like it didn't matter, because in my head, I had decided that this was fine. This relationship was fine. This behavior was fine. Okay. So he's just not affectionate in public, right? And I'm an independent woman. We're solid, right? Right? Except deep down, I knew that that wasn't the truth. But by saying it out loud, made it feel like I was taking a match and lighting my dream life that I was building on fire. So here's why this wasn't fine. When a person is consistently acting like you're invisible, it doesn't just sting in the moment, it leaves a mark and it rewires you. It lowers your standard for what love feels like, and it makes you start to think that you should be grateful for these shitty little scraps they're throwing your way. And it makes you believe that this is the love that you're worthy of. And that's anything but fine. The truth is, this fine thing didn't just start with him. It had been threaded throughout my entire life for as long as I can remember. But before we get into that, I want to share another story with you. The reason why I'm sharing the story with you now is because I don't want you to ever have to go through something similar for yourself. And if you're experiencing something like this now, I take a good, honest look at what you're tolerating and what you actually deserve. So let's get into the little story here. There was a morning where everything should have snapped into focus. I was training for a marathon, and I remember this day pretty vividly because it was the day the hydro had gone out across the entire city. Now, I was on a run, listening to my tunes, pounding my feet across the pavement, just trying to get one of my long runs in before the day started. And then it happened. I stopped at an intersection where all the lights had gone out, and all of the cars had stopped to let me cross the street. There was one open lane at the far side that didn't have any cars in it, so I thought it was safe to go. So I started crossing the road, and all of a sudden, this car came out of nowhere and changed lanes and zoomed through the intersection. The shock had blinded me. They hit my foot or my leg, and it had shot me into the grass near the sidewalk on the other side of the road. Yeah. So when I finally realized what happened, my leg started screaming in pain. Strangers were gathering around me. Are you okay? Are you okay? And I looked around and I did a self-check-in, and I was like, I feel okay. I got up and I could walk. So I thought I was good. And they were all asking, should we call someone? Should we call someone? And well, I did just that. I pulled up my phone and I called my someone. And I told him what happened. And he was still at work. But his voice was calm, and it almost was like he was detached. Like my almost dying didn't matter to him. And he said to me, take a cab. I'm working late. I'll be home soon. That soon turned into 2 hours later. On a side note, my leg took 3 months to recover, but I still ran that marathon. Thank you very much. So going back to this moment, do you know what I told myself when I opened up that cab door and got in? This is fine. And when he finally rolled up to our apartment 2 hours later with no sign of apology and no compassion, this is fine. This is fine. This shit wasn't fine. It was absolutely humiliating. And it was honestly incredibly lonely. This was the moment I realized how alone I actually felt in our relationship. It was a flashing neon sign that the perfect relationship that I was in and I was trying so hard to protect wasn't actually perfect at all. It was actually kind of shit. And that thing that I thought was everything to me and everything that I ever wanted was all a complete lie. So why do we do this to ourselves? Well, the thing is that fine is really just a defense mechanism. It's a shield. It's what we use to keep the peace and to hold on to this picture we've painted in our brains to avoid feeling pain, loss, or discomfort before we're actually ready. It's what we say when we want to brush our feelings under the rug and want everything just to go back to normal. But every time you say, I'm fine, when you're actually not, you're teaching yourself that your needs, your pain, and your voice don't matter. And I hate to say this, but the truth is, and we all know it, it comes from our childhood. First and foremost, I grew up with an amazingly good father. Caring, steady, dependable, always there when we counted on him, and always wanted the best for us girls. But when it came to emotions, those were locked away, key thrown away in a vault that would be never opened. No one would see emotions ever. He didn't share his feelings. Not the big ones, not the small ones, not the hard ones. Looking back, maybe he was worried that if he opened that door, all of his emotions would come flooding out. Or maybe when he was younger, he was told to be incredibly strong. And feelings, well, they just would have been seen as weak. So he kept it all shut in. And that was his version of fine. Handle it yourself, keep it contained, and don't burden anyone. I learned that without anyone ever sitting me down and telling me that. And because I loved and respected him, I took it as truth. So I did what anyone would do. I built my own life the same way. Gravitating toward people who didn't give me much emotionally and convincing myself I was fine when I was actually getting less than I needed or deserved. The problem is when you grow up thinking that fine is a sign of strength, you don't notice the ways that it actually starves you. You think it's normal. You think that you're strong for tolerating it, whatever it is that you're going through. But strength isn't swallowing your needs or your pain until it disappears. It's having the courage to say, well, this isn't enough for me. Even when people around you were not taught how to say that for themselves. Here's what I wish someone had told me back then. Fine will cost you more than the truth ever will. The truth might hurt in the moment, But it also might break the illusion that you have in your head about what you're going through. It might change that relationship or get rid of it entirely or force you to face something that you've been avoiding this entire time. But fine will quietly drain you of you until you don't recognize yourself anymore. Because every time you choose fine, you're choosing to slowly leak your soul instead of choosing the clean break so you can finally live as you're meant to. And the longer that you do this, it starts to become your native language. It starts to be something that you actually just start doing without thinking about it. Now, if this is resonating, I am not asking you to torch your entire life overnight. Please, that would be way too traumatic. But what I am saying is that I want you to start with one part of your life where you've been saying, I'm fine, when you're really, really not. So instead of saying, I'm fine, just say the real thing instead. Say, I'm hurt. I'm lonely. I feel pain right now. I need more from this. I don't know what I want, but this isn't it. And this is exactly how you stop being erased from your own life. This is how you start writing a story where you're not just surviving and getting through the day and going through the motions saying you're fine, left, right, and center. This is how you start being a main character in your own story. One that doesn't settle for just fine. You demand real. And that, my friends, is the truest adventure of your entire life. And if this hits a little too close to home for you, finding this video is not an accident. It's your call to stop living in I'm fine and start living as the hero of your own story. Now, if you're ready to enter your heroine era, this isn't just a few journal prompts that you can throw on some pages and then call it a day. This is your actual blueprint to stand in your power, to find your inner heroine, and to start reclaiming your needs and finally choosing yourself without apology. So if you're ready to follow along on your journey, hit the subscribe button or grab the link below, and you're going to learn how to rewrite the stories that you've been handed and break those patterns that keep you stuck. I know I have a couple to break alongside you, so I'll be with you every step of the way. You're not alone, because you know what? We're all human. And we as humans are here to make a life that actually feels like our own. Because you don't need another self-help checklist, a 5-step process. You just need to actually start to choose your own inner adventure and your journey back to you. And I'm here to help you do that. Your inner heroine is waiting. Let's go find them.